Hello, Darren.
Hi, Darren. You just caught me taping my paper down to the board. I love this board. This board that I draw on, because it's got all my old paintings on it, traces of it.
Oh, right.
It's the same with my acrylic palettes. It's just got so many layers of paints on. Then each layer is one of the paintings that I did.
The other week when I was in Folkestone, there was a tiny little exhibition I went in, and it's not a particularly original idea, but I've often thought about doing it. But someone had just palettes up. He's used palettes on the wall.
Yeah.
And he'd done little things to sort of make them into pictures. So there'd be abstract blocks, and he'd sort of added things to make, he made one of them into a lamppost and stuff.
Right. So, I'm ready to paint, and I'm painting a man called Donny Benét. Have you heard me mention Donny Benét to you before?
No, who is he?
He's an Australian musician who makes music that is very 80s inspired. And it's full of vintage synths and drum machines. And I love his style. He's slightly ironic because he's kind of got a persona of a bit of a love god. He does not look like a love god. Kind of like Hayman Superstar didn't look like a love god. You remember him?
Oh yeah.
But I think he's better than Hayman Superstar. He's got more heart. Seems like a nice guy, and he's a really good bass player as well. Very like Bernard Edwards style, Louis Johnson, all that sort of stuff. So I'm painting him because we've been talking about synths.
Well,
recently.
I'm painting another synth.
Which one is that?
I'm painting once again from life.
Yeah.
So I am painting the. Hold on, I'm having a bit of trouble here.
I can't guess from that. Oh.
This is the Gen SX1000.
Wow. I like the look of that.
Yeah. Well, there's a few little stories about this one. Firstly, in a way that I actually sort of forgot. I forgot for a long time, but the Moog I painted last time is the first synthesizer I owned. But this is actually the first synthesizer I ever played. Not this specific one, but this model.
That model.
Because this was my school's synthesizer.
Your school had a synthesizer?
My school had a synthesizer.
Ours didn't.
You really want to come down to the south, and
I know. And I'm not even playing the like, oh, here he is, the poor northerner again. We didn't have a synth at school at all.
I've spoken to other people, and I don't know how they got the deal, but it seems like if you had a synthesizer at school, at my age, if the school had one synthesizer, it was this. It was the Gen.
Right.
And at school, I was playing the violin.
Oh, right, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I played the violin at school. And We had this amazing. I wonder if in my wildest dreams this video like this could reach someone who would know. We had this really, really beloved music teacher.
Right. Yeah.
In Brentwood called Mrs. Petrie.
Yeah.
And at the end of each term, she would do a music concert, and the kids would form little bands. The orchestra would do it, but also like her choice of material that we did was good. She'd do pop hits and TV themes, and just everyone loved it. And I was in the orchestra, and to be honest, sort of felt like I'd chosen the wrong instrument, really.
Yeah.
Chosen violin, and then immediately wish I was playing guitar or something, I suppose, or saxophone. Yeah. I remember wanting to play saxophone. And the brass band had done, had learnt the theme tune to Doctor Who.
Right.
And so essentially all the trumpets and everything were all doing that da 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 da.
Yeah.
And I guess they thought, well, this is when we use the Gen SX 1000, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So one girl who was a good pianist sort of sat to one side and played the ooh business on this synth. And this sort of story sounds kind of made up now, and it's like you have those stories where you sort of forget for ages, and then when in like the sort of the early 2000s, I got into synths and started collecting them. Then I just sort of remembered all this story and thought, oh god, that's quite a pivotal memory, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
She was playing this synth, and at the end, someone else said, well, look, you can modulate it. So obviously what you can do on here is when you have a long note going, you can, turn up the LFO and it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they realised they didn't have anyone to do it. And I was sitting there with my violin waiting to play Strangers in the Night. And does anyone want to come up here and do that? I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that. I had to just sit beside her and wait until she held this last note. And he said, like, you turn this knob to here, and then this knob to here. And so one of the first times I was on stage, or not even on stage really, just to the left of the stage, was actually in a kind of Brian Eno role at the school, operating an LFO in the theme tune to Doctor Who. And so for that reason, I sort of wanted to have one of these synthesizers.
I was in a band at school. We persuaded our school to buy a drum kit so that our other guitarist brother could play drums, and we used to practice in the like little rooms. And they had a school talent contest, and so we entered that, and we did "Sweet Child of Mine," which always reminds me of Brian Potter from Phoenix Nights, of one of his exclamations, "Sweet child of mine!" What's going on? And we did One Vision. No bass, so it was just two guitars and drums. But we in our heat, there was a kid named Owen, I think he was called Owen Fearon, who sang a reggae song called Wet Dreams.
Oh, I know that song. Yeah.
Max Romeo, I think it is. Yeah. It's also filthy. It's a filthy, rude reggae song, and he did it at school, and the kids loved it. Obviously, they thought it was the best thing ever. He stood up there singing these very rude lyrics in front of all the teachers. So he got voted through. We got voted through to the final as well, but he did. And the teachers said, "Look, you can be in the final, but you can't sing that song again." So, okay, no, sorry, I understand, cool. What did he do in the final?
Oh, okay, so one of two things. He either just completely disregarded them and did Wet Dream anyway, or he did a song twice as filthy.
He just did Wet Dreams again. Completely ignored the instructions. And so I believe, I want to imagine he got disqualified, but I think he got just put in third place. There were only three acts in the final, and he finished third, even though he got the biggest cheers of all. He won it. He owned it. And I think we came second to a ballet dancer.
He was the people's princess.
He really was. I wanted him to win as well. It was like a legendary thing that happened. So yeah, it's school bands. Bit odd. Were you in a band at school besides like the school orchestra?
No. That was all a bit later.
Yeah.
That was when I was at art college, and well, I mean, the truth of it is, I went to see Billy Bragg.
Right.
In Barking. It was some kind of Labour Party thing, something.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. Maybe I knew a little bit about Billy Bragg records. I don't know if I did actually. I haven't left enough space for my Gen logo here.
Oh.
Go higher. I'm just going to squidge it in, right?
Well, you have to.
It was just the experience of seeing someone sing in my own accent. I loved music. I loved American accents. I probably even had heard different sort of British accents. I probably heard perhaps London or Liverpool accents in pop music. But there was a bloke with a guitar on singing in my accent. I know this sounds arrogant, but I just thought I could do that, which does sound arrogant, doesn't it? But
no, it doesn't.
I just sort of was watching him, thinking, "Oh, I could do that." And it was in a way I was thinking that looks kind of easy. He's only got a guitar. He's just saying some jokes and he's doing some songs. Yeah. I suppose it was almost like the realisation that I perhaps didn't have to form a band.
Yeah.
Although I did. I mean, what I did after that was I brought the guitar and then formed a band. Yeah. But I still felt like the simplicity of seeing one guy with a guitar was more my eureka moment. And then sort of experience. The Gen has all these coloured knobs on it.
I like that. Are they colour coded? Do the different colours they all kind of connected? Yeah, like all the envelope generators here are in blue. All the things to do with modulation are red. Was it a British company?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, this is a pretty... Well, here's another thing to tell you about this synth here.
Yeah.
Is that it isn't mine, really.
Right. Is it just live at your place?
Well, yeah, but I don't know whose it is either. So some friends were relocating to America, and they said, "Oh," and I was, they, just getting rid of stuff, and they said, "Darren, can you take care of this? It's, I don't know, Bob's, Billy's.
Yeah.
It's not ours. Well, tell him you've got it." Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I'll make use of it. Thinking at least I'd have a week or two.
Yeah.
And there was a few emails. Did Bob ever turn up for his synthesizer? I told him it was yours. I was, no, it's here. It's always his. Yep. And that's about 6 years ago now.
This happens a lot with musical gear.
It does, yeah, it does, and it's also happened the other way round as well.
Yeah,
I know that Dan Mayfield's still got my Melodian. I know that Dave Shepherd's still got my wind chimes. I know where they are, but they've had them for about 10 years each.
Yeah. One of my first bass amp is in a house in Cheshire. I mean, it's still mine, but I'm never gonna claim it back.
Well, but this was rather. This was looking rather forlorn at one point, this synth.
Yeah.
And so I took it to my man, my synth man, who's up in Suffolk. He's known as the synth prof. If I would recommend him if you're looking to get your synth fixed. Right. Look online for the synth prof, and you'll find Andy, who has about 10 greyhounds when you go there.
That's a lot.
And
a lot of legs.
He's sort of weird because he doesn't mind telling you with one synth. It's almost like he has individual relationships with the synths. And he hates my Prophet 5. When I bring the Prophet 5 in to be fixed, he's like, "Oh no, God, that arsehole. I hate that one." But this one, I went back to pick it up, and he's like, "Oh, I've done something a bit special this time.
Huh?
This one's got the VIP treatment." I didn't ask him to do the VIP treatment. Presumably, I paid for the VIP treatment. Anyway,
yeah,
he replaced all of these, so loads of these were missing. Loads of them.
All right,
every single one. So if the guy whose synth it is ever wants it back, and if he's watching this, he definitely does now. I've completely fixed it. I've replaced all your color knobs, which would still be fine. If he came and got it, it would be still like, well, I had this synth for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, have you used it on any recordings? I assume you have.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. It's got a very it's kind of hard to explain. It's got this like pulse width modulation on it, and it is very sort of BBC schools. It's quite good to do sort of slightly Boards of Canada type things with it.
Right.
They're
I
all
don't know Boards of Canada.
They're all different. No two are the same. With the old synths, they all have a little characteristic that can't be got rid of.
Yeah.
No matter how many knobs you turn. What was your first band called at school?
Oh God! I hated the name. We got it from a ruler, so we were called Shatterproof. and obviously we're no longer together, so the name was rather ill-advised. We were called Shatterproof. After Shatterproof, I joined a band called Home Run, and we were kind of like pop rock, not quite hair metal, but close to hair metal.
Kids naming bands, aren't they?
I had the hair. I will find a photo and show you one day. But and then, and that was kind of it. After that, from then on, I was in a covers band called Counterfeit, classic cabaret band name. And then I've just been Ballard ever since then. Were you in any bands before Hefner?
Yeah. Well, me and my friend Graham, who was at the Billy Bragg gig, we formed a band, and I sang and played guitar, and he played guitar. And then I worked in Sainsbury's, and I worked in the department. And so we recruited all the other members from Sainsbury's meat department. But there was 2 veg in the band. So we were called Meat and 2 Veg. No, sorry. No, that's not true. Sorry. Only Graham was a vegetarian and everyone else was in the meat department. So it was meat and 1 veg.
Meat and 1 veg.
Yeah. Then I was in a band which was pretty much the same band, really. It sort of metamorphosed into a band called the Gangathegli, which is from a Robert Burns poem.
Okay, right.
Which is very highfalutin, wasn't it? But the band was
his.
What other stupidly named bands was I in before Hefner? At art college, I was in a band called Kank.
Hank.
Kank. K-A-N-K. Kank.
Hank, yeah. I like that. That's a good name.
It hasn't had much competition in this conversation, has it?
No, but it's also open to fun and games and for putting graffiti on the posters.
I think we just thought that's what it was. I think we thought it was slightly rude without being properly rude. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like sort of sinister or naughty in some way, but didn't sort of really mean anything. I feel like I'm missing some though here. I don't think it got to Hefner that soon after that, did it? Oh, me and Anthony had a me and the band had a band called the Pensioners.
The Pensioners. Band names, they just so naming anything's difficult.
Well, the thing is, I think the worst named band I've ever been in was Hefner. I think it's it's an awful name for a band. I deeply regretted it.
Do you mean because is it anything to do with Howard? Is it Howard Hefner? No, it's not. Is it?
There was
Playboy guy.
Early on, the band was me and 2 other guys, Steve and Stuart. And it wasn't that line of band didn't even last that long. I don't even know if it lasted a year, 6 months or something. I don't know. I can't. I have real trouble putting my life in order that long ago now.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of those kind of 2-syllable bands, Sleeper, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they named it, or one of them named it. Let's call it Hefner. And I was like, that's a stupid name for a band. But nothing really seemed real, really. It didn't seem like we were going to do anything, And I think I just thought, I would, if anything ever happened, we'd change it, obviously.
Yeah.
And then they both left. And I think stupidly, I sort of thought, 3 people have come up to me and said, you're quite good. So they'll never remember the name, I can't change the name now.
Yeah.
I'll lose those 3 people or something. So I kept it. And then, and joined, and then John joined. Well, Ant was always sort of around it, really, and was sort of sometimes in it, sometimes not in it. And but the irony is that a little bit later we had a bit of a situation because there was this other band called Hefner. There was this dance act called Hefner.
Right.
And that started to get a little bit messy. That started to get a little bit like legal letters and stuff, which was really stupid because I thought the name was terrible.
Yeah.
And so I thought, God, I'm fighting over something now that I never wanted, really.
Yeah.
And so I thought this other person called Hefner must be really thick if they think that's a good band name.
I kind of like it.
I think
it's very memorable.
I think I like it in that on its own, you know, those syllables and those letters is just a word that you can remember.
Yeah.
Oh, right. It's Hefner. I can remember that. That's that band, and it doesn't. It's like after a while, it doesn't mean anything. But I think if you do decide it means something, so if you do decide it, you know, it has something to do with Hugh Hefner, that's not a very nice thing to be associated with, really.
No, I guess not. No.
And it says nothing about, you know, what the band was and what it.
I think you're right, actually, when you mention that the other band names at that time. It is kind of its time, isn't it? And you're kind of worried that you might end up lumped in with the like Loaded and Nuts magazine and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't. I mean, in some ways, I think it almost run as an antithesis, you know. So, like, name implies kind of big time glamour and sort of sex industry things, but like, you know, I'm singing about rented properties and you know, kids in their teens or 20s getting shit wrong and stuff. So, in some ways, it the name possibly served as a reminder to me, you know, to not do any kind of material that sounded like it would be worthy of that name. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little bit behind you, but only a few minutes.
No, that's all right. Yeah, I can see you're close to that.
It's a little bit scrappier than the Mugro picture.
It's still very nice, though.
Well, I actually
like
the wood, and I quite like. But like the other one, I have to do a little bit of acrylic to. I quite like this mistake here. I quite like this chord.
Which one?
Here.
Right.
It's not a mistake.
It doesn't even look like a mistake.
It's gone a bit gooey. I quite like it. And I could put in white acrylic on over these things. You know, it really makes it pop, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And red pen, there's some red lines on.
I feel like I've rescued my art today after painting something I wasn't very happy with. I'm now pleased with Donny.
Well, I think my star has gone in the descendant as yours has gone in the ascendant.
Right. But I'm back on familiar ground. It's a face.
Oh, I'm pleased with this though. Red lines.
Yeah.
There's all these red lines on. There's a little bit there. Okay. Oh, actually. Sometimes the last few bits can pull it round, can't they?
That gives it some heft. That
What does?
can't just putting the black outline on the wooden bits has given it some solidity.
Well, yeah, it's something we could talk about another time. Actually, I know I've talked to you off camera about this before about my reliance on line.
Yeah.
But with this, with such a sort of fiddly detailed thing, I'm not sure how I'd go about it without line.
Yeah. No. It's nice.
Yeah. I'm just gonna sort of mask this slight error here by putting a sort of bit of a dark, a bit of shadow here.
Yeah, which there probably would be anyway, wouldn't there?
Yeah. Oh, man, though. Prussian blue, right?
Yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
Look at that. I don't even care that that's too dark.
No, that's beautiful.
Actually, I'm quite pleased with that, actually.
It's good. It's good, it should be.
I'll put it on the actual thing. Let's put it here.
Nice. Lovely stuff.
Are we done?
I think we're done. Yep. You say it.
Goodbye, Darren.
Bye, Darren.